We're back at you today with gloves off, and we're going to be talking to a special Grandmaster, a living legend, one that is very close to my heart, one that has counseled me in many things in the last several years, and we've become very good friends. And his name is Grandmaster Ramiro Estallila, and he's a special man, and he has touched many, many martial artists and taught many in the last decades. Okay? Good morning, Grandmaster. How are we doing today?
Oh, good morning. Is this Professor Paul Buitrón III?
Yes, it's me, in the flesh.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad for you to call me, sir.
No, it's me that calls you, sir. How's everything over in Fresno, correct?
The weather's fine, Professor. The weather's fine. It's sunny, and it's a beautiful day today. And I have my wife and my daughter with me today here.
Awesome, awesome. Give a big hug to them and tell them we love them from Buitron Academy. Let's touch base on what Caraboran is. How did you get involved in it? What was it, and what is it to you, and what is it to the world of martial arts, and especially the Filipino martial arts?
Well, the word Caraboran means the Sir Baron, or the art of the barons, as we call it today. I've been involved with it since my father began teaching way back in 1936 when I was still 6 years old. And then eventually I got more interested in the art when during World War II. And from then on, I got associated with many teachers who were masters in their own field of expertise and in the martial art. And it involves a spectrum of the whole art in the Philippines, not just the Ilocano tribe or one of the 100 different tribes.
Okay. When you were growing up, who were the teachers that touched your heart? Who were the ones that were around back then that you remember and gave way to Caraboran?
Well, first, when I was 6 years old, my father was teaching in Muñoz, Nueva Ecija, and I was just a bystander among the many kids, seeing him teach people. But when we went to Mindanao, Philippines, in 1936, then war broke out in 1941. That was where I got involved in learning the art taught by many tribal leaders. And some of the leaders that I can remember are Braulio Roque, Marcelino Bermudez, Menardo Fresas, and several others. And there was another lawyer by the name of Avalos. But my father was among the teachers during that time, and then eventually I went to my uncle in Zamboanga, where at first my father did not want to teach me, but later on he said, go to your uncle. And so I went there. I skipped 1 year of studies, and then later on I went back. I started taking notes in 1948, taking notes to be my notes or handbook, so to speak, in the study of the art.
What does the art consist of? It consists of what weapons, and what makes it different, or what can you tell us more?
Well, the word Caraboran has three components, general components, I would call it this way. Weapons of single weaponry, and you have double weaponry. Under the single weaponry, you hold the weapon either with one hand or with both hands.
Okay.
Now, in the double weaponry, there are three categories. All of them in total of three categories. Weapons of equal length, when you have the doble baston, we call it in Filipino, doble baston, or doble mancao, or doble tranchon. Now, when you have a combination of one long, one short, like espada y daga, you have the term in Spanish espada y daga. And then when you have a combination of one short stick and one longer stick, that is the other category, which is binangkaw. And when you have a bangkaw with a longer weapon, that's a spear length, you have still a form of binangkaw with one longer weapon. Now, these are the three subcategories, or an overview: binaston, binangkaw, and bambolian.
Okay. And out of each one of them, each one can be done by itself, no? In other words, there's a lot of styles that are just that one, either long weapon or double weapon, but here it's basically a melding of all the different systems into one, correct?
That's correct, because it's not, during the war, we disregarded tribalism. We were all in the same boat. We had they banded us together in order to protect our, not only our barrio, our town, but our families, and the whole town in itself against bandidos or bandits,
Correct.
And so our teachers came from different provinces, but we were all in the same province. They migrated to Mindanao from Zambales, from La Union, from Nueva Ecija, from Nueva Vizcaya, from Ilocos Sur, from Ilocos Norte, and many other places, Pangasinan, and from Manila. We were all in the same place, and so the leaders, the old leaders, the leaders who were old enough to become our teachers, they blended their arts together to teach each of us. So, although I use the term kabarwan, meaning the art of the barons, not because it is an Ilocano term, but it's because what I understood at that time, kabarwan, and as an Ilocano, tribal Ilocano term. Among the Tagalogs, they call it maharlika.
Okay.
And among the other tribes, I don't know all their terms, but what I remember is the word kabarwan, a spectrum of the different arts of the Philippines, not just singling out one as over the other.
Okay. That's wonderful. That's beautiful. When did you come into the United States, and how did you start teaching, and who were the first pioneers of this? Because you're actually one of the pioneers. Who were the first ones that you met, and how did all that come of age?
Well, I came to this country in February 1st, 1976.
Okay.
Following in the footsteps of my father. I came primarily as a minister. Paul, I'm primarily a minister to pay back to this country for the benefits that we received from this country during just after the war and before the war, when soldiers became eventually missionaries to help us know more about the spiritual matters. I came to this country in 1976, but before that, way back in 1921, my father came in May 9 or May 10, 1921, and taught Eskrima, came to this country too. And I'm following in his footsteps. He was a martial artist. He taught. He was a veteran of World War I. But I came as in 1976 after 45 years, something like that. And I came primarily as a minister, but I taught Eskrima in order to survive in this country. And I taught in Orange Cove, in Fresno, and around the valley here. And I had friends who were martial artists and friends who are non-martial artists, and they wanted to know more about the art in the Philippines through me. And I was just happy to be a vehicle of teaching the art. Many people here who are youngsters wanted to know about the art of the Philippines to connect with their culture.
Correct.
And that's where I started.
Did you meet any of the grandmasters like Cabales, like Giron, like Tino and all them? You probably did back then, did you?
Yeah, yes, I did. I'm very happy to have met those icons in the field of martial art. The first person that was referred to me to contact when people in the town here who were old, around their 60s,
Okay.
They said, "Oh, go and see Grandmaster Buitrón," they said. And so he was the first person that I went to see to get acquainted with, because he knew, I heard that he was teaching Cabarwan and Largo Mano, and he was teaching martial art, and he was well recognized.
Right.
So I went there to get acquainted with him, especially because he speaks Ilocano and he's from Pangasinan or Nueva Vizcaya.
Right.
Then later on, I went to some other time. I went also to get acquainted with Grandmaster Angel Cabales.
Right.
So through a friend of mine who was a bishop in the church where I was working, who was his cousin. So we went together with his cousin to introduce his cousin to him, so that's where we got acquainted. You know, we spoke in the dialect, not in English.
Right.
We spoke Visayan. I happen to know the Visayan languages. So I spoke with him. We became friends indeed with Grandmaster Angel Cabales and Grandmaster Leo Iron.
Right, because those were actually the ones that kind of sparked up, and you came in right around that time as well. What have you seen from the practice of Eskrima when you were doing it to what has happened now with the Filipino martial arts? What has been the major changes that you see?
Well, you know, there was a time when I heard the story that two great icons of Eskrima wanted to establish a school in Tracy, California.
Okay.
They agreed to establish a school, and then later on, when they came to the question of what shall we teach, well, one said we should teach mine because mine is better than yours, and the other one said no, mine is better than yours. And so right then and there, when they agreed to establish a school, when it came to what to teach, they parted ways, and from that time on, they had parted ways for 20 years until sometime in July of 1980, I believe, around that year. Right now I cannot remember the exact date, but it was a big event where all the masters and grandmasters, and there was a tournament, and it was at the time that I had the privilege of speaking to these two icons, and
who were they?
I said, and I was able to pave the way for their reconciliation, for the sake of their instructors and students in the future. And I was happy to have become the bridge as a pacemaker for these two peacemaker for these two great friends of mine.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And who else have, because when I was growing up, I didn't know anything about Filipino martial arts even existed. I grew up here in Laredo and went off. It wasn't until after I came back from France that I knew that Eskrima and Cali and all that started, because I started getting a lot of students in the Dallas area that would come in from different walks of life and different systems, and they will train in Savat and they will show what they did. And I was very intrigued. It wasn't really until 2004, 2005 that I did a seminar in Reno for the Penjak Silat community. And two gurus from Stockton that you know very, very well, Master Ron Saturno and Carlito Bonjok, they both came in and they both demonstrated, and I said, wow, they know exactly what they're doing. This was far more than all the rest of the stuff that I had seen. And that's when we became very good friends, and they've taught me a lot, and as well as you, and I've been very much blessed because I was very much embraced by all those in Stockton, which I care about. A lot of them I call my brothers, and it's very interesting because the more you see it, the more you research, the more you see, and you start appreciating the history, its beautiful qualities towards where it comes from, how it was, how it's always been an art for liberation, because of course it liberated the Philippines during the Japanese conflict that
Division.
we had. Yeah, occupation, and a lot of people, and I'll be very, how can I put? I don't want to sound nationalistic, right? But I mean, everybody here always says all the martial arts from Japan are the better than everything, and here you had the martial arts from the Philippines basically going through the Japanese left and right. And of course, they needed to understand their enemy, so they picked up a lot of those qualities, and you see them in the systems. You see the cross training in the
That's
systems.
right. You're right.
And what better way than as a combatant, as a true warrior, as a person that lives that life, you have to understand your enemy in order to win. And
That's right.
And if you do not know what your enemy is doing, believe me, you have already lost. And that's unfortunate, because how does that play in the martial arts? Well, I have to understand how the bandit or the bandido or the robber thinks, and what is he going to use? Is he going to use a knife? Is he going to use a gun? All that stuff. As a martial artist and as an instructor, you have to realize that exists in order for you to pass on good knowledge for those that come behind you.
That's true. That's true. What you said is true.
And
I'm glad that I was able to. I knew those guys that you mentioned a while ago, Bonjok and the other masters. They're all great teachers.
Yes.
Each one has some variety of differences, but they are all like chicken. Like when we cook chicken, your chicken adobo and my chicken adobo might be a little bit different, but it's still chicken.
Yes, it's still adobo. You're absolutely correct. And
mine is not better than yours or his adobo, but it's still chicken. That's what I like about the art, because we may differ in many things, but we are still either killing or cooking the same chicken.
And what I see, and what I see in the world of martial arts, I see people that have never. I'm going to go into generation gaps. There's somewhere there. You have first, second generations out there that are very, very solid and very, very dangerous. Like people that come underneath you, and Kabbalahs and Master Kabbalahs and get on, and all those greats. Okay, and then you have generations that are in the 20s, in the 15 to 20 generation gap, claiming grandmastership that they've never even trained with any of the students. Understand what I'm saying? You're like, all this hokiness going around, and you're like, please,
I'm amused,
Yeah, and you're correct. How do you feel about that?
Because I have here a magazine in which it's one guy calls himself the father of Eskrima in this country. And then I have another two guys, two brothers, I think. They bicker over who is the father of Eskrima in this country. And then there's another fourth one in New York somewhere, or in the United States, that calls, he claims to be the father of Eskrima in this country. Wow, I said, great. And what about my dad, who came to this country and introduced Kabarwan in 1921?
Yeah.
Now, could he be called the father of Eskrima, or the grandmaster, the grandfather of Eskrima? No, I won't even call it that way, I just, in each period, each year, or in each time period, there may be those who come out as a father of Eskrima, and there's nothing wrong with being a father, You're a father, I'm a father.
Sure.
And I'm a father of my son.
Correct.
In the same way that God has said, this is my beloved son in whom I'm well pleased. See, Jesus Christ is the Son of the Father.
Right.
And me too. I'm glad that I have the father who introduced Eskrima in this country in 1921, and it is documented in the ancestry.com.
Yes, no, and it's interesting to see, because there's people that say the same thing about Savat. We had the first school of Savat. Oh, well, so and so came down and was teaching when West Point. Yeah, but West Point was in the 1800s. Of course, it was. It was a military art. So you're like, who really cares? What matters is, what are you doing from here forward? That matters.
That's right.
And that's the difference. What are you teaching your students? I see a lot of
that is reflected in their philosophies.
Correct. I see a lot of.
I saw a T-shirt where it says, on their T-shirt, they have the saying, fighting solves everything.
Well, no, and that's actually true. You know, we used to have testings. Even in France, we had testing. Yeah, they'll test you, see if you really knew. You have a couple of guys come into your school when I was teaching, and all of a sudden, you know, let's go over here and put the gloves on. Then they realized, and all of a sudden, we became very good friends. But that we don't have that testing here. You all still kind of have that testing in the Sacramento area with the Screamer. You know, they'll go out there to the park and let's figure it out sometimes. But
like your Paul, I like your motto in our hat.
Yes.
Where it says cabeza
fría con pie de plomo.
Con pie de plomo.
You know, that was a saying from my uncle. Cabeza fría con pie de plomo.
That's great.
Cool.
That's great. See,
Cool.
Have
Go ahead.
A head, a cool head, but a solid footing.
Exactly.
With the feet as solid in its standing like an iron or a bromo, steel.
And never lose your head. Never lose your cool within any argument, within any fight, because then you've already lost it. You know, and he would always say that every time we.
And in my case, of course, I use the art to enlarge my circle of friends, not to create enemies. That's as a minister, you know, my aim is to point people to the true master of heaven and earth, Jesus Christ. And by the way, I have here before me the certificate of recognition given before by the mayor and city council of Laredo, Texas. And I have there, the mayor was then Raul G. Salinas.
Yes, for the recognition.
And the city secretary was Gustavo Guevara Jr. Now, here is one thing that says here, in recognition of your induction into the 2013 World Pugilist Hall of Fame, we congratulate you as the best in the world as masters of the martial arts and fighting sciences. I have to correct that a little bit. It says they're congratulating me as the best in the world. Oh no, I'm not. I'm just a practitioner of the art, and I'm not the best in the world. If the best in the world is our Lord Jesus Christ, and we point people to the true master of heaven and earth, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. I remember those days, and I remember something that you came forward and you told everybody, and you gave me something that I hold very dear, because you humbled me when you said that in front of everybody. I don't know if you remember that.
Go ahead.
And you gave me an award, and you gave me a mastership of honorary mastership for your system, and I was like, I didn't want to accept it, but then you told me you have to.
In fact, Paul, because of your stature and in enlarging the circle of friends, making your art to become a vehicle of making friends instead of creating enemies, I really admire you for that. And you're not only at the time when I gave the I called you as not only by yourself as a professor, but an honorary teacher and instructor and master in Cabarwan. I really meant that, because I see your potentials in spreading the art in a peaceful means, in a peaceful way, to enlarge our circle of friends and not create enemies. That's what it all amounts to.
Well, thank you for that trust. And when you said that, and you said that you had given another one to another icon that I love for what he's done to the martial arts, is Guru Dan, you know, and
yes, it was 25 years ago. He's already a grandmaster in his own right, in his own field. He's a founder of, he's known internationally. But in my system, all I could do was to have him as an honorary instructor in Cabarwan. And to me, that was that's the best that I can do at the time, because 25 years ago, when we got acquainted with Guru Dan and Grandmaster Dan Inosanto, who was the sparring partner of Bruce Lee, and
sure.
In real life, they're best of friends. In the movies, Enter the Dragon and Fist of Fury, Dan was like the bad guy and Bruce was the good guy, you know.
Yeah.
But that in the movies. In real life, they're best of friends, and I really appreciated and honor Dan Inosanto,
And he
my
has,
a friend in the martial art.
and he has
Very
always, and he has always embraced every art. He has always embraced everything that's out there to teach it and to go forward. And that comes very, very few and far between. So I feel humbled.
He gives credit, and the best part of it, he gives credit to all his teachers that he has learned something from.
Absolutely, and you have to do that. And you
That's
have
right.
to do that. We all have teachers. We have some of us have good teachers, and some of us have had bad teachers.
That's correct.
And,
That's true.
And regardless of the statue, whether they were good or bad, you have to make recognition to them.
That's right.
And many folks out there, all of a sudden, come out there and they have these titles, and they never tell you who they learned from. They either come
That's
up.
right.
I see this in Savat. You know, I learned Savat from a French guy, and I was training for 8 years. And I go, well, what's the French guy's name? Well, he's French. Well, you don't know his name? So it goes out there. Like I said, there's a lot of hokiness going on, and hocus pocus, and all of a sudden here you have a grandmaster.
You said it like you hit it at the nail of the head.
Yeah, no, and
That's just in your case.
yeah, no, I have.
East,
Go ahead.
those who came from the East, the Far East, the Middle East, or in the Philippines even, who way back then they studied a little bit, and then when they came here, they're considered grandmasters.
Oh yeah, no, and here I have students of mine and I've had students that are very good students. I've had students that were adequate students. Have some students that were kicked out because they were of their moral character more than anything else.
That's right.
And those that have been kicked out in moral character now are running around teaching, and good for them that they're teaching. They're out there trying to do what they're. Now all of a sudden they come up with these titles that they never even got. They're champions of this and champions of that, and I remember them forfeiting fights when they were training underneath me, and all of a sudden they're coming out with these titles. I ran into one of them, and I said, "So when did you become the title of the United States?" Oh, of Savat. You didn't become of this. I know all the champions that have been. The last U.S. championship was in 2004, and you were not there. But it's funny. It's funny because it exists in their minds. They mentally masturbate on this stuff. That they're the best. And
you said it right, Paul.
But Grandmaster, this year in April, we have the 3rd Texas Stick Fighting Championship. And in April. I'll get the dates finalized. I think it's the 23rd. I'm not too sure. I think it's the 23rd.
I want to tell you ahead of time, Paul, that in April 21 and 22, I've been scheduled by no other than Paula Inosanto, the wife of Dan Inosanto. He has scheduled me there either one day or 2 days or both days,
Okay.
April 21 and 22, Saturday and Sunday, to give a seminar there.
Okay, no problem. We do not have the date as secured, okay? Because I need to talk to the city. So I'm glad that you told me this. So I know that Easter is there, and I know that May is coming behind. So it might be the week before, or it might be the 2 weeks after, okay? In May.
That's right. And on December 17, happens to be Sunday, that was the launching of the book called Estallila Cabaruan Scream. Are you aware of that, Paul?
We were talking about it. Let's talk a little bit about your book, and then we'll come back to the championship.
Okay. Go ahead. Shoot the question.
Let's touch base on who wrote the book, your book that's coming out. Let's bring it forth, because that is history right here.
Yes, Paul. I started writing my notes just for handbook or my own in 1948. I was 3rd year in high school then, but then I brought it here and started writing it again and expanding it in 1976 when I came to this country. It was completed in 1994 with all the songs that I wrote to and all the credits that I've given, the outlines that I made for it, and now it was taught at the State University here in California State University, Fresno, and other schools here. That after, and only in 2017 November 1st, 2017, was it published, although it was completed in 1994. So it was not just on the spur of the moment. It was written. It took me 69 years, Paul, to be exact.
Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. And just let me know how much it is. Dedicate one to us, and I'll send it to you. And I'll send you the address. But let's look forward to spreading the good word. And folks out there, let's get a book from Grandmaster Estallila. We'll learn a lot of history. We'll learn a lot of reasonings, whys and why nots. I think that book is very much needed. So if you want me to put your phone number, we can put your phone number up there, or you want to say your phone number. What's your phone number for them to order the book?
It doesn't have. It is in the flyer that we made to disseminate the information. This number now that you have, my number for 25 years, is this landline number.
What is it?
559-435-8891 is the landline that I have here.
Okay.
But I have one that's newly given to me, and I don't know how to operate yet. It's called, it's 559-916-3024.
Okay, folks, you guys can rewind that, and if you guys want to order the book from Grandmaster Estallila, it's right there. Now, Grandmaster, talking about the third Texas Championships, we would love for you to come down and be our guest instructor, be our guest of honor, and maybe we can do workshops before. I will touch base with the city this week because I do need to finalize the dates and finalize where we're going to have it, because the city of Laredo has really sparked an interest, has really backed up USA Savat, as well as the Gentlemen's Stick Fighting Coalition, which that's what we called it, you know, the Gentlemen's Stick Fighting Coalition. It doesn't matter if you do Khan from Savat, doesn't matter if you do Kali, Eskrima, Arnis, or Silat, or whatever. We have a set of rules, and you come down here under protection, and we have short stick, long stick, double stick, and we're adding a staff for all the people out there that do tapado, you know, that come out there and work it out. Last year we had the kids division. The first one, we had some kids competing. We've had, in the past several years, we've had groups from Cerrada, from Siete Pares, of course, from Dance de Rusavat, from Lamenco, from JKD, some Orduños Largo Mano, that have participated in the last 2 years. And it's totally awesome because everybody comes down here, and what's more important than all is fellowship. And this year we have some Garmot Arnis clubs that are interesting. We got some Silat groups from Midland that want to come over. So I think it's going to grow. I know that Sumbat comes every year, so maybe you and Sumbat can come down.
Sumbat.
Yeah, Sumbat and Master Sumbat. And I've been talking to Carlito for them to send a Cerrada club down. So
Carlito Bondo, yeah.
Yeah. So I think
well, I do all of them. I try to. Sometime last week, I think in Manteca here, I went again and got new acquaintances.
Yeah, you know, the Mace event that Grandmaster Art Gonzalez and his student.
Yeah, I met Grandmaster Art Gonzalez and Llamas and the other great guys there, you know.
And Mike, who hit that Mace workshop, that is beautiful because you see a lot of different martial arts coming together in unity of friendship.
That's right.
That's what's important. Because, yeah, we can there's still those little rivalries, but let's leave the rivalry to the ring. Let's leave the rivalry to the tournament. You have competition in that. Now, if they want to rival to the street, go for it. I have no quarrel. Okay? And when people want to test you in the street, I have no quarrel whatsoever to be tested over again if it need be. But people misunderstand that. That's not what we out there go try to do. Understand? We're not here teaching our students to go to beat up people. We're teaching our students to love themselves, love one another, and if they have to use it, May God help them in all their faith to go live that situation. And
there's already much evil in the world, and whoever institutes evil, no matter what nationality, if it starts war, I hate war because I have gone through war myself.
I understand. And that is and people do not understand that, and it's unfortunate, but violence violence becomes peace when good men that know violence stop the bad men that knew violence.
You're right, Paul. You're right.
And that's the only way we get peace. So we do need to protect ourselves. And once more, Grandmaster, thank you for all our talks that we have.
It's me who would thank you for interviewing me and have this honor and privilege of talking with you and your audience and your management there and your whole team in your group in Laredo. May God bless you all there, my friend.
And God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. I'll find out from the city, and I'll put down the dates, whether it'll be in April or that, but we are going to bring you down, okay? And we will
in all these things, let's give honor to the one who is the masters of destiny, Jesus Christ.
Absolutely. And for those that, like you said earlier today, that we were talking for those that try to bring peace, what was it? The quote that you said? Because those that try to bring peace, what? Shall peace be brought to them?
Oh, yes. Blessed are those who are peacemakers, because they shall be called the children of God.
Exactly.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God.
Exactly. So folks out there, if you guys want to buy Grandmaster Estallila's book, the number is in there. You guys just can rewind back and forth, and I'll post it up there on the lead. And Grandmaster, big hugs to you and your family, and we love you from here. Okay? And
thank you, and God bless you all.
And we'll be touching base soon. Until next time, guys, you all be safe. Have a great weekend.
Welcome to The Swish, your source for everything basketball.